so many programmers have chosen radio to be, if not their primary medium, but a strong component of the way that they communicate with people. From your standpoint, having worked with this, with a variety of Christian ministries, why is it that radio is important to them?
Well, the ministries we serve and so many others have leveraged radio as a platform to share the gospel. And in fact, let me pull up some notes here. According to Deloitte, they predict that more consumers worldwide will engage with audio entertainment overall in 2024, bringing the total, get this, the total number of monthly average, let me say on the side, podcast listeners to over 1.7 billion, but wait a minute, the monthly average radio listeners close to 4 billion. Bob, that's roughly half of the world's population.
Wow.
So you talk about a mission field. You talk about a means to share his messages of hope and salvation.
And radio is, of course, there are a lot of reasons why people listen to radio and people choose radio to communicate the message. Of course, we think about radio and the ease and the convenience of taking the message, of taking programming wherever you go, whether it's in your car, whether it's in your home. Of course, radio through streaming and smartphones and tablets.
Right.
You can take radio in general, and of course, faith radio. I like to say wherever you go, it's accessible.
Yes,
and
smart speakers.
Yes.
Yes, I mean, you indeed can tune in radio at any time, anywhere, and it's a medium by which, you know, as listeners, we engage with those voices. We engage with those personalities. And I know at Faith Radio, too, there's a lot of local connections, you know, through the airwaves. And you're connecting with your listeners, and that's what we want. We want that connection, that personal touch.
Yes. Leanne Jackson joining us today here on the Meeting House on Faith Radio with Ambassador Advertising here at NRB 2024, one of the panelists for an upcoming workshop on the power of radio. Well, Leanne, as we look at just as we might say, the diversification of media, there are a lot of different media sources that are out there. And I remember reading articles not too long ago saying that, well, radio is a declining media. Radio is going to be superseded or replaced by other forms of media. But the data does not show that.
No.
Radio is continuing to be strong for the reasons that you were just sharing earlier. But what are you seeing? What are some of the statistics that you'll be sharing in your team there at the panel discussion?
Yes, well, if I may,
please.
There are 3 points that I hope to have an opportunity to touch on in the panel, and I'd love to share with your listeners.
Sure.
And that, let me just say on the side, after 30 years in the radio industry, I've seen a few changes, as you have. First, you know, we had the advent of the internet too. We thought, well, what kind of impact was that going to have on radio? And it's only served to further actually the reach of radio, as with other technology. But there are 3 points with radio. There's reliability, relatability, and reality.
All right.
So, in the latest Edison research, let me just say, the biggest share of audio listening time through remains with AM/FM radio. Edison says it has a 36% share of listening time during the fourth quarter. So let me just put that in layman's terms.
Okay, fourth quarter, last 3 months, 2023.
Right. What that means is that listeners are continuing to tune into radio even as they listen to audio via other means, whether it be podcasting, you know, whatever means it is, radio is still at the top. Reliability. Radio is one of the most trusted sources for entertainment, news, information in America. Think about where you go when something happens. You go to radio.
Mm-hmm.
And relatability. And this is one of the key points that I really appreciate. I mean, look at you and your listeners. You relate to them. They relate to you. And that is a key component of radio as well.